For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. Breaking news out of Atlanta today, literally in less than 24 hours after it was announced that Diddy's homes were raided in both Miami and Los Angeles in connection to sex trafficking, it has now been revealed that Sean Combs has sold all of his shares of Revolt TV to an undisclosed buyer. Now, according to TMZ, the mystery buyer is Black, as the company wants to assure their audience they will continue to be Black-owned and dedicated to the culture. It is unclear of how much Diddy would sell his Revolt shares for. Now, on their Instagram page, Revolt would break the news with other news outlets that Diddy would get raided by federal agents in Homeland Security. This decision would cause many Revolt followers to question the network's motives. One user would write, "It's amazing that Diddy's own network, although he stepped down, pushing the agenda to bring him down." Joining me to discuss this is our very own Danielle Miller. Danielle, thank you so much for joining me on this and providing a beautiful backdrop to this conversation, because it does have a lot of layers. So I want to go ahead and start it right at the top. You know, after seeing all this unfold, what was your reaction to seeing Diddy's homes being raided?
Marasek.
What is that? What's that?
So Marasek is a Bahamian terminology that translates to wow, oh my God, I can't believe it, right? When I saw it, because it was like it came out of the blue, because yeah, we saw the lawsuits that were coming out, but the raid was sort of like, okay, whoa, wait. And then when I saw the kids being brought out in handcuffs, now I don't know what role they had to play in this, because these are still young men. But at the same time, I was like, okay, where is Diddy while his kids are going through this? He should be there. Like, where is he? And that was just my initial thought when I saw it.
Yeah, one of my main reactions to it when I saw it was definitely his kids was my first, but I'll add to that. My mind started wondering, like, what would make Homeland Security actually show up to make this? Because it did feel out of the blue. Obviously, we knew this case was still unfolding, but now to, hear from an attorney saying, like, a federal court judge actually has to approve for this to move forward. So obviously there's some type of probable cause where they feel like, okay, now we can take that next step to raid these homes. So it was definitely a surprise. And definitely for his kids, I feel for them, because like you said, they are young men. We have no idea how involved, they are with this case. But at the end of the day, they're still young men, young Black men at that. So I know that was very traumatizing for them. Now, Danielle, of course, social media is reacting. This has so many layers to it. But one of the things I want to talk about here, because you and I are in this news space, right? And we saw Revolt cover this story. Revolt is getting a lot of backlash. So I want to read some of those comments and then come back and get your thoughts on it, because I think it's something worth talking about. So one user said, "Anything to destroy a wealthy Black man. They don't do no other race like this, and y'all enjoying this." Another user said, "It's amazing that the Diddy's own network, although he stepped down, pushing the agenda to bring him down." Now, there were some people that did agree with Revolt posting this, and a user wrote, "Respect to Revolt for covering. I know this decision couldn't have been easy. However, it was the right one. Sending y'all good vibes, because it's about to be a long week." Danielle, let me get your thoughts. Do you take issue with Revolt covering the story, even though Diddy co-founded the company back in, I think it was around 2013?
Absolutely not. They're a news outlet, and it is their job to report the news. Therefore, they are only doing their job respectfully at that. Because one thing that I noticed was all of the other news outlets put in their headline Diddy, like they mentioned Diddy in there. What they did was they said Sean Combs. I don't know if they feel like the younger generation, but that's what they did. And also, too, what I noticed that they did too was that at the bottom of their write up on social media, they made mention that Diddy is no longer with the company. Here's Revolt's problem, though. Revolt's problem is that they have branded themselves so much of being Diddy's company. It's sort of hard to separate the two right now. So that's why a lot of people feel like, oh my God, like the loyalty aspect is gone out of Revolt. They're still a company. They're still a business. They still have to run. They still need to make dollars. So that's the story that's running. So that's the story that they have to put out there. Now, I would say I would have called them out if they didn't post the story, because then it would have been blatantly biased. But at the same time, it's sort of like the emotional side of business when you're just protecting the person that, was with the company. But at the same time, they're a news outlet. Their job is to report the news, bottom line.
Let me ask you, just to play devil's advocate a little bit. Do you think there would be any difference if he still was with the company? If he didn't step down, would you have an issue with them reporting it? Although Diddy would still be a part of the company.
If they still would have reported it with Diddy being there, I still wouldn't have had an issue. Now, I think the story would have ran differently. I think they would have padded it and sugarcoated it just a little bit more. But I think I would have had an issue if they didn't run it, even if he was still there. Yeah. And
Yeah, no,
again, not really an issue, but just them showing their bias.
yeah, no, I agree with you. Whether he's there or not, they're a news outlet. And Danielle, to be honest, if our CEO was to get into some trouble or anything like that, I'm gonna be right here at the desk reporting it. You know, if he's with the company, then we're able to have some more exclusive content because we're able to get statements from him and kind of use the platform to send the message. But please know, because we are a news company, we can't be biased. You know, whether I get into something or anybody on the team, if it's in the headlines, then it's worth a story that has to be covered. So no, I absolutely agree with you there that it's not wrong for them to do it. They're a company, but I think you made a great point that they associated the two so much that there's just an emotional feeling of like, oh, you're betraying, you know, the person that started you. You're betraying the person that was leading you. So the great perspective there. Now, you mentioned some of the problems within the company. Let me ask you this. Do you think them separating themselves from Diddy will be a thing to help Revolt as a company? Because, you know, obviously them, you know, addressing this conversation and we're seeing things kind of unfold. Do you think if they separate themselves from Diddy that they'll actually be helped later in the future?
Now, let me say this before I go on to that question. If you are a journalist and if your bias relies solely on one person, then you should also leave the company too when that person leaves. That's just a fair thing to do. Like that's just fair. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just where your loyalty lies. Now, when it comes to Revolt itself, I think Revolt has to do a serious rebranding, restructure, might even be name change, might even have to change their logo just so that you don't, it's like Ciroc. We still associate Ciroc with Diddy, even though, that's what they'll have to do. I don't see Revolt really being able to detach themselves from Diddy maybe for another 3 to 5 years, honestly. Because there were a lot of shows that were also attached to his face as well that was on the network. So that's what happens when you hitch everything, not on the brand, but a personality. That's what tends to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, a lot of people are going to feel how they feel about Diddy, but when we're talking about this company, we're talking about employing so many black creatives, so many people that were dependent upon, you know, that company's check or, you know, that paycheck to pay their bills and take care of their family. So while this is happening with Diddy, there are still so many people that are being affected by this that may have had nothing to do with it. So I do wish the best for them. I think you make a great point. I would love to see them maybe rebrand, change the logo, kind of switch up things a bit because there are so many people that are dependent on the company to succeed. So yeah, it's definitely unfortunate to see all this unfold, Danielle, but you know, it's going to continue. We'll keep covering it just to stay abreast with everything that's happening. But I appreciate you for chiming in here with me. And like I said, providing a good vibe. Go ahead.
Revolt probably needs to get they could probably need a strong they got to get another chairman that has a very strong media personality or great influence. Maybe a pastor. No, let me not say a pastor. Somebody that is out there in the community. They have to rebrand seriously. Yeah, that just ran through my mind. Maybe it might be a pastor, maybe not, but somebody of great influence that has a completely different background to come in and do that. And I thought about that when you spoke about the employees. Like people don't understand that this might be about Diddy, but he employed, or the companies that he's involved with has employed so many people. So what I would say is what we need to do is take that into consideration that there are other lives involved in this, especially his children, his teenage daughters as well. So be very careful. And I also want to employ our Black community. Be very careful too of the names that they're throwing around on social media about, oh, he's next or that one may be next. Because these people have families, they have reputation. Be very careful of what we're doing and what we're spewing online. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes people get so caught up in like, oh, it's a phone, it's a computer, but it's like, but these are real people lives that are being affected. Let me ask you one thing, Danielle, and this may lighten it up as we close out a bit. I don't know if you remember, and this just came to mind. 50 Cent thought about or talked about possibly wanting to purchase. Obviously, he has his own little situation with Diddy and feud, but wanting to purchase Revolt. What would be your thoughts if 50 Cent really did step in to purchase Revolt and rebrand it? Do you think they would, have a high success rate?
Symphony, you really are devil's advocate. Where do you pull that question from? Why would we call 50 Cent name on this good platform? 50 Cent, but I ain't gonna lie, I scared to walk into this because, if 50 posts about us, it's more, we're doing our job. But I think 50 Cent, Revolt is a company. He's a rap. 50 Cent, don't call him a mogul, call him a rapper who just owns businesses. So he makes investments, and if he wants to purchase Revolt, make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, not to spite Diddy. Because again, these are other people's lives that are involved. So make sure that you're doing it for the right business reasons and that you're able to take Revolt to the next level and not just to say, aha, I got you moment, right? Respectfully, 50.
No, I absolutely agree. I think anybody that steps in, because we're always talking about how we want black media, and I do think it should be taken seriously. Like I said, that probably lightened it a little bit, but when we're talking serious, I do think whoever steps in or whoever does decide, like, hey, this is something that I want to step in to do, I hope that they step in with it with a sense of seriousness, with a sense of urgency that there's black people that's dependent on this, and I do think there's a future for it. I'm just hoping that it falls into the right hands for sure. So, I'm in agreement with you there. Now, Danielle, before we head out, I'd like to know what you have going on. Of course, how can people keep up with the beautiful place of Bahamas and all the good weather that y'all have? I'm over here in the rain. You're shining on me. What do you have coming up? And of course, how can people follow you?
All right. So, of course, I'm still on RN News. You can check me entertainment and lifestyle segment. Make sure you follow RN News Bahamas on all social media platforms. Also, check the website. Comedy Hype. Cannot forget Comedy Hype. I am right here. Make sure that you follow all of the pages and keep up with the hype. Subscribe if you have not subscribed as yet. This test is always hard. Then one thing that is happening here is what I would encourage persons to do that are carnival enthusiasts. The Bahamas is having a carnival in May. I can't remember the date. I'll get the dates for y'all. So if you're in town or something, you can probably, watch the carnival parade. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything. You can follow me on all social media platforms, DEEA Miller on Instagram and Twitter. And then on Facebook, it's Danielle, DENIELLE. And also the same thing on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. And I think that's it, Symphony. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you as always. May is my birthday month, so I'll have to definitely try to arrange something to come down there to the carnival. But as always, Danielle, thank you for chiming in on this topic. You heard from us. Now we want it from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Revolt being accused of betraying Diddy after his homes were raided? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. Put it in the comments. We can say that again.
Oh, you feeling my shirt? Well, I'll tell you where I got it from, but it's a bit of a secret. Nah, it's the Hype Market, thehypemarket.com. This is where I get all my exclusive pieces from black-owned to cool-owned brands. Every brand has a story, and you get a chance to figure out who and what you're spending your money on. They even have spaces for you to use. Come here. They even have tickets for events and exclusive joints just like this. Oh, now if you excuse me, they just dropped some new art, and I think it's time for me to add to my collection.